Hi, Peter Charles here, Hooked for Life Fly Fishing. And today we're going to do a very simple pattern called Mr. Walleye. And it's produced by a gentleman by the name of Mac Warner. Now, this particular fly is quite simple. It's sort of woolly buggerish sort of thing. And I think simple patterns like this are not only good for beginners, but I think for experienced anglers, they're great when you're going to be fishing over snaggy water and you know you're going to lose a lot of flies. So it pays to have a bunch of simple patterns in your box that you can fish aggressively and not worry about the fact that you spent half an hour tying this fly. So let's get going and looking at the materials for the Mr. Walleye. Oh, I should say before we get started, you can do this in a variety of colors. It's the pattern. You can do it. I'm doing it in chartreuse. The book shows it in green. You can do it black, white, purple, whatever color scheme you like. So, okay, we're going to use a streamer hook here. This is going to be a Mustad 9671. You want a heavy wire hook to get it down. We're going to use black thread, in this case the Vivas. The tail is chartreuse marabou. Good idea to use a fluorescent color. It helps it to stand out, especially on dull days. The body is going to be this chartreuse ice chenille. And you want a nice bold body with this one. And the wing is going to be crystal flash in fluorescent chartreuse. So let's get started. And this being a simple pattern, I'm not going to worry about, using sort of classic techniques of covering the hook shank. Let's get some material on there and not worry about tradition. So one of the things I like to do with marabou is just grab and pull your tail into the length you want. Now this is a relatively short tail, so that's what I want there. I'll just bind that in, and then what I'll do is I'll just keep that on top. So by putting the marabou over it like that, what you do is you add a bit of thickness to the body, so the body ends up being consistent along its length. I'll just put a few wraps in there to put this all down, bring my thread to the back, and tie in the chenille, ice chenille I should say. And you notice that I have pulled some of the chenille off and just left the core for a tie-in point. Now we're going to pack this really tight together, and it doesn't hurt to have a toothbrush to try and pick out the chenille, so you don't want it sort of too trapped. You can really jam these together. You want a dense body. Pull that back when you're tying this off. Get a few wraps in there. Just pull it back so you don't get material sticking out the front of the fly. Wrap that down well. Now you can see there's a little bit of a spot in the body where my chenille got trapped. This is the type of thing I'm talking about, where you try to avoid that trapping, because it does reduce the impact of the flash. So I'm just putting the head on there. Now we're going to put in the crystal flash, and this is not a long wing. So what I'm going to do is, if I was tying multiple flies here, I would just put in some crystal flash, a couple of turns, fold it over, and lock it in place. Now we'll finish off the head. Doesn't hurt to have a relatively noticeable black head, because what I've found for other patterns I've tied in chartreuse for our local bass fishing is that they like the contrast. They like some black on the fly. So I will just trim this off at just the length of the hook. Now we'll just whip finish. And we'll add some head cement. And you can see how that really pops with the fluorescent material when I put the UV light on it. That's what you want, a really, really, really hot looking fly in overcast days. This is a wonderful pattern for an overcast day. This thing will just literally glow in the water. So there we go, the Mr. Walleye. As I say, do it in different colors: black, white, purple, yellow, brown, green, you pick it. I've done mine in chartreuse with a strong black head because that's what our local fish seem to like. So give it a try, the Mr. Walleye. Cheers.